Well, welcome to Know Your Unique Selling Proposition. Now, every company has a unique selling proposition. In other words, the thing that sets you apart from everyone else. And I'm going to help you hone in on your unique selling proposition in this video. And I'm going to walk you through an example of how prospects actually search for a solution and what's going on in their mind over the course of time. Then you're going to have the opportunity to rework your own unique selling proposition in a way that the buyer will understand more readily. Here's what we're going to cover. The 5 things going through your prospects' minds that are going to help you be more relatable and therefore build the trust you need to close the sale. The second thing is how to stop selling on price and start selling on value. Now, you may be in a super competitive environment and price is important, but there's a way for you to differentiate yourself that changes the game. And finally, the one thing that motivates people to buy more than anything else, and I'm going to show you that so you can start using it immediately. So let's get started. The first thing you need to understand is that not every buyer is at the same level of understanding when it comes to your products and services. They are on what is called the buyer's journey. At the beginning of the buyer's journey, your buyer is most likely unaware of 2 things: your company and the fact that they have a need. Your job at this stage is to create awareness of your product, your service, or your company so that your buyers begin to understand what it is that you do and how you can help them. So buyers are usually looking for educational material like customer reviews and testimonials at this stage. Your content should be focused on your buyers' pain points and not your product or your brand. And once your buyers begin to realize that they have a particular pain point, the research begins. And for 72% of buyers, they're going to turn to Google. Now, as I was putting this together, I put together a buyer's journey for this course, and I had to ask myself, what is the person that could use my course wanting to accomplish? Well, they need help getting more sales. And when you think about it, this is a really broad topic. There's tons of potential solutions to this problem. There's sales training. You could hire a salesperson. You could get an assistant so you could sell more. There's advertising. There's public relations. You could become a speaker. You could be writing a book. The list goes on and on. And that's the reality of the awareness stage. You're not just competing with other people who sell your product. You're competing with anybody that has anything that could potentially help your buyer with the big picture of what they want. Let's move on to stage 2. This next stage is consideration. Now, at this point in the buyer's journey, again, using this course as an example, you ran across something that indicated LinkedIn might be a good place to focus. Now, that could have come from something I wrote, or LinkedIn put out there as an advertisement, or a competitor put out there. And as your buyers get further into their research, they're going to begin to understand which criteria do and do not meet their needs. And that's going to allow them to prioritize their questions during product demos and that kind of stuff. So at this point, buyers can begin to eliminate vendors who don't provide the functionality or service that they're looking for. And they're going to narrow their focus to just a few competing companies. So educational content like white papers, analyst reports, industry reports, these are going to be critical at this stage. So build out a few simple lead nurturing campaigns to gradually deliver this content to prospects who've provided their information with some kind of form completion. Remember to lay off the heavy sales pitch at this stage. It's all about building trust with your prospect and establishing your company as a credible source of information. Now at stage 3, we call this interaction. You are now solidly in your buyer's field of view. And at some point in their research, buyers are going to begin doing in-depth comparisons of each vendor that they're considering. So this is the stage where they'll start reaching out to a sales rep for more inquiries and personalized product demos and that kind of stuff, so that they can actually drill down into the features that matter to their teams and them the most. Now, before getting too close to decision time, most buyers are going to have to secure buy-in from upper management. Any purchase that involves a monetary investment is going to require some sort of sign-off by C-level executives. So your buyers are going to begin focusing on content that contains information about pricing, ROI, and the bottom line to justify their expenditures. Finally, after days, weeks, or months of research, your buyers have selected a vendor and are ready to purchase. It's time for the paperwork, setup, and implementation. But just because your buyers have made a purchase, their work isn't over. Most buyers will continue to research best practices, implementation guides, and more to make sure they're ready to hit the ground running with their new purchase. Remember that content isn't just for your prospective buyers. Consider creating a drip nurturing program for your customers with helpful content on the more advanced features of your product and tips for using your product more effectively and efficiently. If you can help them see more value from your product, they're far more likely to remain your customer when renewal time comes around. And then finally, we get to stage 5, advocacy. Now, if everything goes according to plan and your buyers are happy with where they've ended up, and at the end of their journey, they can become a valuable marketing resource. So this is where customer advocates come from. Customer advocates can speak positively about your product and the experience they've had with your company, and they're a powerful resource and one that you should work hard to cultivate. So let your brand evangelist become the driving force behind your word-of-mouth marketing. And as one of the only forms of marketing that comes from the customer, not the company, word-of-mouth marketing can be especially persuasive. So that's why happy, satisfied, and informed customers are one of the best marketing investments that you can make. So it's time to do the work. Walk through each of the 5 steps of the buyer's journey and put that down in your worksheet. Fill out the buyer's worksheet. So pause the video right now, do the work, and then we will get started on the next step. Well, welcome back. So we're going to talk about how to sell value and not price. It seems like everything is being commoditized these days. You have to have the cheapest to get more business. Well, marketing is about packaging. So how can you package yourself in a way that eliminates the competition? Well, the key is to transform lives and stop selling features and benefits. So you might be asking, what do I mean by that? Well, I want to take you through an exercise that I call the value transformation. So in every situation, it doesn't matter what you're selling to a person who is in a current situation. And whatever their current situation is, they want to get out of it, and they want to reach a desired outcome. And your product or service is the value transformation that you are going to create for them. Now, value is demonstrated in one of 2 ways, and in fact, both ways. The first is monetarily. The further you take somebody from point A to point B, the more value you're creating for them. And the second way is, the faster you can do that, it becomes even more valuable. This was kind of a mind bender to me because as a consultant, a lot of people want to know what I charge by the hour. And so they have this mentality of my time is worth a certain dollar amount. And that's actually not the right way to be thinking about the problem. And so I have to re-educate people that say, you have a problem and I'm going to get you out of it. So do you want me to do that faster or slower? And of course, the answer is always, well, I'd like to get out of this situation faster. So it doesn't really matter how much I make per hour. What matters is, what problem am I solving for you? And so as a CEO coach and a consultant, I would tell people, I only work on $1 million problems. If you don't have $1 million problem, I'm probably not your guy. And that eliminates every part of pricing out of the equation. So let me walk you through this a little bit deeper. See, in the current situation, and I'm going to talk about myself, I had a business that was owning me. I was working all the time. And I was really uncertain about how I was going to get out of this rat race. And I was really frustrated with hiring salespeople that weren't performing and didn't understand the topic as well as I did. And I was also frustrated in my ability to stop trading time for money. And so I was frustrated in like this cycle of sell and then deliver, sell and then deliver. And so what happened was, when I'd finish a project, I came off a project and suddenly I had no prospects. And so I was like in this immediate mode. My needs were right in front of me. Like, I got to find somebody now. So that's when I bought a Facebook ads course, because I really wanted to be financially free. It's not because I wanted to learn Facebook ads. I just felt like if I could use Facebook ads, I'd have a never-ending flow of prospects, and therefore I would become financially free. It's kind of like the same reason I bought a drill. I bought a drill so I could have a hole, not another tool. So I want to take you through an exercise, and we're going to peel this apart even further in this next phase. My current situation was I had financial obligations, just came off a project, and had no prospects. I was feeling frustrated and out of control. And my average day was trying to find more prospects. See, when I was busy, I was trying to find time to prospect. But when that job was over, I had plenty of time, and so my frustration was prospecting. Like I was old school. I was a grinder. I was a hustler. And that was kind of what I wore as a badge of honor. Like you got to hustle to win. This is what we teach our kids. Like you got to go to it, put your shoulder to the wheel, nose to the grindstone, right? And so that was my status. But what I really wanted was I wanted a consistent pipeline of quality prospects. I didn't have that. And I wanted to feel confident in that pipeline. I wanted to feel in control of my destiny. And more than that, I wanted to be sought after. I wanted to be somebody that didn't have to do that. I wanted to be somebody that was known for being really good at something so people come at me. And I really needed to be a leader in my industry. And so my average day, I wanted it to be so that I was spending time with prospects, not hunting for prospects, and having time to spend time with my customers and not having to worry about, oh my gosh, I got to start prospecting again. And so the status that I was trying to achieve was that I wanted to become a domain authority. And I knew in doing that, I would eventually become a marketing pro. So this is the exact process that you need to go through with your buyer. What is their current situation? You need to go through everything that they have as it's related to your product and service that you can help them with. You need to go through what are they feeling? What are the emotions that they're carrying around? What are the internal issues that's going on? What's making their stomach churn? What's creating acid reflux? And then I want you to walk through an average day in their life. And I want you to start from the very beginning. They wake up in the morning and what happens? What's going through their mind as they go about their day without your product and service? And then finally, what's their status? How do they feel about themselves? When I think about status, I like to think about first-class citizen versus second-class citizen. So in the status in their current situation, you're really talking about what's making them a second-class citizen and put a label on it. Then I want you to do the same exercise with desired outcomes. What are they going to have after your product or service? This is where most people sell. You're going to have this, right? You're going to have more prospects. But good ad copy talks emotion. And so how are they going to feel when they have that? They're going to feel more confident, feel more in control. So I want you to write down those feelings. What are those inner feelings that they're going to have? Then I want you to walk through the average day. Their average day, when they wake up in the morning, now they have your product and service. Maybe this is a year down the road. Maybe it's 2 years down the road, and they've completely implemented everything that you have. What's their average day like now? And then finally, their status. What have they become? What was the aspirational thing? Who are they now? This hits to the core of identity. And when you can move somebody's identity from old schooler to domain authority marketing pro, you've made a significant change in their life. That's what I mean by transforming lives. So you're going to want to go through the exercise of creating your value transformation. Do a ton of brainstorming on this. When we go through this exercise in our workshops, we get up on a whiteboard with our team, with our client, and we'll write down 50 things for every one of these categories. And then we'll sort through them and organize them and then kind of come up with the core beauties. That's the process I want you to go through. So here's what we've covered. The 5 parts of the buyer's journey and how to create content that meets them at each step of the way. How to stop selling on price by creating a value transformation. And finally, how to show people that using your product or service is going to completely change their lives and improve their status. Okay, so now it's time to do the work. Fill out the value transformation worksheet, and I'll see you on the next video.